Hello, and welcome to the How to Exit podcast, where we introduce you to a world of small to medium business acquisitions and mergers. We interview business owners, industry leaders, authors, mentors, and other influencers with the sole intent to share with you what it looks like to buy or sell a business. Let's get rolling. And now a moment for our sponsors. I want to highly recommend you get Acquisition Aficionado magazine. Every month, Acquisition Aficionado magazine brings you tactics for business buying and selling you won't find anywhere else. Learn firsthand from industry leaders who share their success stories, featuring in-depth interviews and stories from leading figures in the business acquisition industry. This multi-platform mobile magazine speaks to acquisition entrepreneurs wherever they are in the journey. And I want you to visit acquisitionaficionado.com today. Hello and welcome to the How to Exit podcast. Today I'm here with Isaac. If I get your first name right, I was practicing your last name and I just messed up your first name. I'm here with Issac Qureshi, and he is the founder and owner of Bowarr, an M&A firm specialized in e-commerce. And today we're going to talk about everything mergers and acquisitions. We're going to pick your brain and learn from you today. So thank you for being here.
No problem. My pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show.
I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy now that I mess up people's names. I don't care when I first started the show, I don't care if your name was John Smith, I messed it up, right? It could be the most vanilla name on the planet and I would stumble or something.
Don't worry
I've done
about it.
250 shows now. I don't have the nerves aren't there anymore. I don't know why I do it. But thank you for being here. And let's just get going with your origin story, man. Tell us, how did you end up in mergers and acquisitions, and how do you end up where you're at now?
Good question. So yeah, my mergers and acquisition journey started very, very early in my career, to be fair. I was very, very fortunate. I had an amazing mentor. So my background really, I started at Royal Bank Scotland Group out of Scotland. Not that I'm Scottish, but I was born in Manchester. But I joined the group early on in my early 20s. I was part of the M&A team over there. But my Nirvana moment came just before I just joined the board. I was the youngest board member of Royal Bank Scotland Group. I had an amazing mentor. I joined the board at the age of 29, and my first big merger and acquisition was the purchase of Natwest Bank out of London. That taught me a lot. And a lot knew the ins and outs of mergers and acquisitions. That taught me a hell of a lot in terms of how to acquire a company for essentially what we all now know as a leveraged buyout deal. Not that everyone knew what we did at the time. I was involved in the aggressive takeover of the brand. It was a leveraged buyout, and essentially we bought the bank for 2-to-1 shares, and that's what we offered out there. So that was where I cut my teeth, as I say. I then went on to help acquire Citizens Bank in the USA, which is a good one, and then also Bahambro in the Netherlands. So they're my three major banking acquisitions, and at the time I helped purchase a number of insurance companies in the UK for the group. So that's where my journey started. It went on and on and on. I left the bank in my early 30s, then set up my own various different companies in marketing, in property investments, in sports, leisure wear, a few other things. And I then went into the IPO world. So I sort of set up those companies and I IPO'd 3 of my own companies and as an advisor for another 4 during my early 30s. Then went into my 40s, and that's where I'm not 40 now, I'm 50, but in my 40s, I then set up all my other ventures, and that's where Bowarr sort of was born from, where I used all the skills and infrastructures that I learned in my 20s and 30s and started doing privately for myself and for my clients, essentially. And now, during that journey, we predominantly specialize in the e-commerce world. And the reason for that is that I also own an e-commerce group within my portfolio of businesses, and it made sense for us to basically look after ourselves. And I do believe e-commerce is one of the growing trends of businesses in the sort of next 5-10 years. So that's really my journey, as short as I could put it. But as I said, I think I mentioned just off screen before, it started up quite high, and so it seems to be coming down and down in terms of acquisition value along the way.
So how transferable were those skills, right? Because one of the things I do on this show is I do interview some guys in the PE space and the investment banking space, mainly because guys like you and I are buying companies that we hope to sell to them someday.
Yeah.
So I want to interview the buyer. I want to interview like this to find out what they're looking for and make sure our audience knows that here's what you got to do to make it interesting to them. But you came from and a lot of people I've talked to, they came from that big world where not only were you just doing mergers and acquisitions and hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars of transactions, you were doing banks, which were highly regulated, to doing e-commerce part. It almost feels it has to feel like you went into the wild, wild west a little bit, right? From
Absolutely. But it's a really good question though, but you're right. But those skills are super, super transferable because what you're looking for, I know it sounds really odd, but what you're looking for when you're acquiring a bank, although different if you look at it, say, an e-commerce business, in essence, they're the same thing, the same due diligence you're looking for. It's just a level and depth of the paperwork that you're looking at the end of the day. So you still transferable. And what I sort of tell a lot of my clients, you still have to look at those bits. So whether it's bank account, okay, e-commerce be different. And Shopify, you still need to look at the legal aspects. There might be less of it, but it's still the same sort of thing at the end of the day. What we try and do is take that big corporate organizational structure, maintain that framework, but in a more flexible entrepreneurial way in terms of delivery. So we take the corporate structure, but make it much more entrepreneurial. But to be fair, what we got towards the Royal Bank of Scotland at the time is we were told RBSG is a big oil tanker, but each division, so my division was meant to be the speedboat. So each division had to operate as a speedboat within the oil tanker regime. So instead of taking us hours and days to turn around the corner, we could just move fast. And that's to able to acquire the deal, get the deal done, and beat all our competitors, whether that was acquisitions, new product launches, whatever it was. We had to operate as though we were speedboats, not oil tankers. And that taking that essence of what RBSG was about in its heyday and try and transfer that into Bowarr and how we work with clients, essentially.
It's interesting. You're about the third person, or maybe fourth or so, who's told me the steps are the same. The big difference between $1 billion deal and $1 million deal is $1 million deal might have, say, 50 to 150 pages worth of paperwork done at the closing, and to where $1 billion deal might have 500 to 1,000 pages worth of paperwork.
You know what?
And
Absolutely. The volume of paperwork tells you the size of the acquisition at the end of the day. And that, if I get a chance, I might tell you a really funny story. When I IPO'd my first company, it's a similar sort of story. But yeah, in essence, it's the same. It's just the volume. Now, we specialize in e-commerce. A lot of that data is online at the end of it because we specialize in Shopify stores. Shopify holds all the data that we look at, essentially, which verifies customers, verifies email addresses, verifies payments that are in, sales, etc. So whereas in a normal, say, bricks and mortar business, you've got to pull all these bits in from different places. What I love about e-commerce is that everything sits in one place and it's super verifiable super quickly. So again, you get that speed.
that is a win for e-commerce. I'll date myself here a little bit. Back before Flippa and all these, websites where you can go find any data on anything, before Google Analytics existed, in its true sense now, I flipped websites for a while, back when you had to buy them on Warrior forums, right?
Oh, yes. Guys,
Right.
I remember those days. Still remember the forum, to be fair.
Yeah, so we would buy them on there, and we would put new user interface with the UAX or what do they call it now, and we would buy a site that's generating income, make it look better, feel better, put some more traffic to it, and then turn around and sell it. And we usually would double or triple our money, but people got so good at spoofing the data that I got ripped off pretty bad by one of them. It was only 30 or 40,000, like
Yeah.
37,000 something. It was in the 30s, and I try not to remember it. It was painful. But the day I got the website, within 24 hours of getting everything in my control, the traffic just stopped. And apparently, they had one of those private networks where they had a bunch of domains and stuff, and the link farm where they had all their own.
Oh,
They sold me one of their sites, and then they rerouted all their links from all those other sites that they had. They were sending the traffic over to one of their other properties. And I went from making a couple grand a month to zero and no traffic. So I got out of the space for a while because it was just too easy to spoof. Now, with all the cool analytics and third party, nobody's doing it in house anymore. It's not your analytics software. I remember when you'd had to install your own analytics on top of Apache to get your thing, and we had cool tools like, I don't know if I haven't seen it in years, but like click path analysis tools where we could see what path people took to get a certain
Yeah,
product. We could move products around on the websites and stuff. I don't know that Google Analytics, or if they still do that, I don't know where it's at. I don't get into that side. But, now with everybody using third-party tools, you can just log into it, or somebody can give you a non-admin password, and you can see the authentic data as opposed to,
I think
you know
exactly the way it works. When we do the acquisitions, we get user access to Shopify, limited user, allows us to do that early due diligence, so we can say yes or no quite quickly, and
Mhm,
then we can then just go deeper and deeper along the way, and it's great, and it's great for buyers as well, because everything's sort of super verifiable. So when we do a lot of the due diligence and sort of broker the deals, the amount of data we can get. And again, what I love from a buyer's point of view in e-commerce is the fact that it's the only business where you get data every second of every day. No, you can
yeah.
literally move your business. I own an e-commerce group as well, so I'm talking from gamekeeper, poacher, gamekeeper sort of looking. But the beauty of e-commerce business is the ability to move your business super fast and have that data on your fingertips literally every second of every day. And I think on the side of similar sort of comment, we have a set model how we sort of build, grow, and scale e-commerce businesses. It's super simple. It's super simple to look at, because you can move different variables and different levers quite quickly and be able to see, yes, I did this, it resulted in this. Do I carry on? Yes. Or do I not carry on? No, and I can change it again. Whereas a traditional business, it literally can take you a whole year to get that data.
Oh, yeah, months, if not a full year. Like, I changed my signage. How did that impact anything?
Yeah.
It's not like you've got the volume of traffic and the volume of analytics to detect, how well things work. The interesting thing that I heard you say a couple times was Spotify. There's two reasons I don't get into the e-commerce, or haven't anyway. I have done it a little bit in the past, but and not in the last 10 or so years. The two reasons are, I don't like Amazon. I like buying stuff on Amazon. Heck, half the stuff I own probably,
Yeah.
other than my clothes, probably came from Amazon or some other website. But I'm not a fan of having a single point of power being able to ruin my day. Meaning
Totally
that
agree.
yeah. And I've got friends that are in that space. I have friends that made millions, if not tens of millions of dollars on Amazon. And one of the guys was really cool. The way he did his e-commerce products is he'd go find best. Now this will tell you the vulturistic format of Amazon. He'd go find best selling items on Amazon, things that are selling really well, but he would hunt down ones that had, say, a 4-star or a 3.8-star rating, and then he would read all the 3-star reviews and all the 2-star reviews. He figured 4 was, 4 or 5-star, whatever the top is, was just nonsense because they're just clicking that, and the ones they're so mad they're gonna write vicious stuff, but
Yeah.
the 2s and 3s he seen extremely valuable, and he would fix those things, right? So he took a tactical flashlight, and it was selling, and you could tell how many by the number of reviews. You could just say if they've got 15,000 reviews, this thing's selling, right? And he read, review after review after review, and like people say, well, after 6 months, the little spring for the battery breaks. Well, he'd find somebody in China to manufacture it, and he was an
Yeah.
electronics guy by previous trade. He says, "Hey, I want you to make this device, or I think you already make this one. I want to order an entire shipping container of this, but instead of doing what you're doing with the spring, use this solder and apply this much to it, And he would give them the specs of what they needed to use to
Wow.
fix it, and he would order it. Now when he puts his on Amazon, because they're so similar, it pits you side by side with them. And within a few, weeks or so, he's getting 4 and 5-star reviews. He's getting perfect reviews because he's fixed all the stuff they broke.
Yes.
And he even in his description, this is the new improved tactical flashlight,
Yeah.
right? And but he would do that to all kinds of products and make killings. And then the thing I talked to him, I want to say about a year or two ago, and he's been doing this forever. I talked to him about a year or 2 ago, and he was really upset. I was like, "What are you upset about?" He goes, "They just did another one of my products." I said, "What are you talking about?" It's like Amazon had been contacting him and said they're gonna do an Amazon version of his product, and, like, he had a couple that where they bought it from, well, they offered to buy his business and his product because they were gonna make a generic Amazon brand version of it. And he says, I either have to
That's,
take it
that's
or I
the,
get pushed out of the space because
yeah, Amazon is Amazon. That's exactly their business model. It's people get, I suppose people, they're quite astounded that that's the
yeah,
Amazon model. But well, you go look at Amazon bestseller,
yeah.
look who makes it, it's Amazon. Yeah, we in terms of when we do our acquisition work and our clients, we tell everyone to steer away from Amazon. It's not a space that we work in at all. We only work in Shopify. And the only reason, literally, as you absolutely nailed in the conversation, you own your own data. So you own the people, you own the data, you know the person, you own the email address, you own the address, you own the credit card, everything. It means you can, which is part of the, again, also how you build your brand and build your business. Obviously, you can do your own email marketing, do the affiliate marketing. You can actually communicate with these people and build a customer relationship and take something that might be a dropshipping brand, for instance, and turn it into a real, bricks and we'll say bricks and mortar, but a real branded product, and rather than something that's just been done dropshipped. And that's an area where we tend to specialize, and we look for when we look to do a lot of our acquisitions for our clients, it's finding opportunities in those brands. So they tend to be quite young brands. You can acquire them. Again, we have a very, very set acquisition model, that brings up a total value. And having those measures and measurements in place allows us to acquire the brands very quickly, easily, and to be honest, relatively cheaply. And then it allows them the owner to come on board and build and grow and scale it, as we say. And then at some point, they can either roll them all up, or they can just sell them on at the end of the day, somewhere along the line. For high valuation multiple.
Do you guys use third-party fulfillment centers? Do you actually how do you handle the logistics side of these businesses?
In terms when we did acquisitions, a lot of the acquisitions, particularly e-commerce, historic. They started as drop shipping. So drop shipping
Mhm.
straight from warehouse in China predominantly, and they go straight to consumer. So D2C completely. So, and that's the opportunity we see. So therefore, you have obviously less cost of warehousing, and you start to know you can start. But we then do move into what we call hybrid models. We never really move away from what we call hybrids. So it'll be a combination of drop shipping and 3PL, in terms
Mhm.
of fulfillment. So depending on the brand and how you build your brand values, is that we might take a small number of items and constantly ship them, say, to the USA and store them in the USA. But because of the beauty of logistics these days, it's still just in time. So it allows you not to have to spend a lot of money on inventory, but you can ship just enough all the time to know you can keep fulfilling your orders. And as you build your brand and you get more and more orders and make more and more profit, you can start to increase that amount as it goes along. But we never move away from what we call a hybrid. When you do the acquisition, in terms of when we look at the brand and we look at the acquisition model, we make sure there's a lot of value in there. So by that, I mean, we can see the multiple is so again, just to give you an example. So the multiples that we look at in terms of e-commerce, probably less than 2 all the time. This part of our acquisition model is always, in terms of to add value to our clients, is that we try and ensure that we can see the value in the product, the scalability in the product that allows our clients to get their investment cash back out within 18 to 24 months. In fact, in 18 months is our target. So say our clients buy a brand for a couple $100,000, we know when we do the acquisition, because we also do a lot of forecasting, et cetera, as part of the M&A work, that the client can basically get that $200,000 back within 18 months. So we can see the opportunity in the brand by building it, growing and scaling it, that allows our clients to get that cash back. And again, going back to what we said before, there's very, very, very few businesses that you can buy that allow you the opportunity to make sure you say within 18 months, you're back to zero. And then everything is now pure profit. In a traditional business, because of multiples and the variables and not be able to monitor, you just can't achieve that one. So that forms very much part of our acquisition model to ensure that we create utmost value, but also return your investment very, very, very quickly.
The other one I'm interested in the e-commerce space is I'm a big fan of recurring revenue. I own a bunch of real estate. I prefer models where you work and deliver a service and get paid over and over again. How many of these e-commerce brands are either consumables or something to where once you land a customer, you've got a customer for a while. They're going to do subsequent orders.
Again, that's a really important part of one. That don't get it wrong, not all of them are consumers that you can recurring revenues all the time. So, but there are some within the portfolio we own. There's like toothbrushes, there's detox drinks, there's health vitamins, etc., which are all on subscription models along the way. Because some aren't, and we have a dog harness brand. So,
Mm-hmm.
but the way you sort of build and grow in terms of mergers and acquisitions, what you look for is be able to use a customer base. So do we feel the customer base is strong enough to support multiple products? So you might have a dog harness brand, but then can you sell dog toys? And that might be on subscription. Every month you might get a new dog toy. It might be dog food. It might be a bit more complicated, but there's things that can you take the value and part, when you look at M&A work and when you look to acquire a brand, you look at the lifetime value of the customer. Can we take that customer and make them buy something else? I always use the term widgets. They buy one widget, can we sell them another widget? And then can we sell a widget every month that might be where they want something all the time? And so we're not always overly possessive about what the brand is. Is there a widget that you can sell once? Can we sell them multiple widgets? And is there a widget in the portfolio that we can sell them again and again?
I do love what I like to refer to as unrational passion niches, meaning that like golf, bass
Yeah.
fishing, pets, like people don't need any rationale whatsoever to buy another gift for their dog, right?
Which
And
is
it just or a better swing on their golf club, right?
which is really funny because we own a golf brand, we own a pets brand, we own a paddle brand. Just those very reasons, the purchasing habit is irrational. I love what I do. I love my pet more than my children. I love golf more than anything else, or I love playing paddle more than I love going to my job. So I'm just going to spend money on it at the end of the day. And you do get those type of brands, but again, you have to unravel the widget, as I say. So you have to understand the customer psychology. So there's a psychological element in M&A, which I think a lot of people don't cover on. You got to understand the buyer persona, and these have got multiple personas within the net. It's all the work that we do in terms of M&As. And I don't mean just for e-commerce. Any brand that you go and buy any business, you have to understand who your customer is, who they are, and what can you do with that customer to squeeze the extra, as we call it in e-commerce, average order value. What can you squeeze out of them? Is it good old fashioned? Again, coming from a banking background, but also from a marketing background as well. It's that order chain. We used to call it single order below average order value, single order above average order value, multi-order below average order value, multi-order above average order value. Then they become a recurring customer. You have to take it to that customer ladder. No matter what business you're in, anything that you buy, can you take a customer through a ladder? What we used to call ladder of prosperity. The more you can take them up the ladder, the more prosperity you will have as a business.
It's interesting. I'm puzzled by this whole world of e-commerce where you're selling $15 toothbrushes because I didn't think about the higher end side of it. There's got to be that for everything, right? You say $15 toothbrushes, like what do you do? 24 karat it, right? And it's like no, it's like it's a different technology. It's like what's the technology different from regular toothbrush? And then oh,
Yes.
it's got nano bristles. Like how often can you find a product and you look at it and go, if they describe that better, you could represent that and make it a $15. You make a $5 toothbrush a $15 per toothbrush. They're not describing that correctly. They're not positioned right.
Yeah, you can put it in most products. And when I say you can in most products, I think it's not particularly the product. It goes down to psychological storytelling. It's been able to use words in description when you do the videos or when you've got people doing testimonials or when you write the copy, is to make it into a story that allows people to, as you say, buy into the product, understand the product well. But also, I mean, you've done marketing, so you know exactly how this works. It's to releasing those hormones in your body without you realizing it. So certain words, certain stories will trigger cortisone, endorphins, different chemicals, depending on what you want people to feel. You can release that through the words or through the story or through both visuals and audio. So that's where the psychology comes in. So like you said, We have a toothbrush. A toothbrush is a toothbrush is a toothbrush in most people's world. Our toothbrush is a nano toothbrush to begin with. What is that? It has 20,000 bristles. It's soft on your teeth. Visually, we used to show the toothbrush on a toothbrush, a traditional toothbrush on a strawberry. It would damage it. We do our toothbrush, it'd be nice and gentle, nice and soft. Then we have then dental people that say, "Oh, what an amazing toothbrush." We go through that storytelling journey when people look at it, that they buy into something. They think it becomes much more of a lifestyle choice, not a commodity choice. And if you can create a product and I'll be very honest with you, this is a drop shipping product that we rebrand. We call it branded drop shipping model. So we bought the brand 2.5 years ago. We then built it into a brand that's now called Brevi. It has our own packaging, but it's still drop shipped out of China. We got involved in the manufacturing now, so we're just about to launch an electric version of the whole thing, which is actually our own. We designed with the manufacturer. But we took something that was just a basic product and turned it into a story, turned it into a brand, turned it into something people want to buy into, turned people to want to subscribe into. It became part of their life. And the more you can take when you look at M&A and when you're looking to acquire a company, what can you do when you look at the acquisition? Yes, you've got the normal things like due diligence, look at the financials, they're making a profit, ROI, return on investment. But what can you do when you buy that, take it onto the next level? And we have a model that we call it, in the M&A side, and also we call it the 4-tweak model. So when we evaluate something, we want to see how much money we can, for any client, how can we make that more profitable? And I'll use an e-commerce example. This can go any sort of type of business. We look at 4 key variables. So can we increase traffic? Okay, number of customers, 10%. Can we increase conversion? Okay, number of people. So traffic is visitors into your store. It could be clients, whatever it might be. Can we increase that by 10%? Can we increase sales by 10%? So orders, so customers. Can we increase our average order by 10% at the end of the day? Then can we reduce our cost base by 10%? So they're the 4 tweaks. If we can achieve those in any business, we automatically add 46% profit to the bottom line. And that's why I love e-commerce, because as I said earlier, it's one of the few, if not the only business, but definitely one of the few businesses in the world where I can literally just log in and see those variables every minute, every day, of every second. And that's why we specialize now in the M&A side, because when we do our forecast and our model, our due diligence, we say, can we overlay that 4-tweak model? Do we believe there's an opportunity to increase that by 10%, this by 10%, that by 10%, reduce, and over what period of time? And that's how we can make sure our clients get their money back within 18 months, because we know we can tweak those variables over a period of time. Or within our model, it fits our model and make sure they say, okay, there's no guarantees in life. Here you go. Here's a forecast. Here's a model. Here's a due diligence that says you've probably got a good 70% to 80% chance of getting all your money back in 18 months. And if you don't, you probably get it back in 2 years. And I challenge anyone to go and find any other business where you can actually get your money back within 18 months, and then everything is pure profit at that point. Mostly, you're looking for 4, 5, 6, 7 years before you're starting to break even again, i.e. get your acquisition costs back.
So I know Bowarr actually helps you have your own portfolio and you help people do the acquisition. Do you help people fine tune those things? Do you walk people through and go, hey, look at these 4 areas. Let's do, I mean, how long did you stick with clients in the e-commerce space? Do you partner with them throughout, or?
So we have a dual model. So what we specialize in particularly now is that we go and find the best e-commerce businesses that we know fit that model, i.e. the right valuation, the right multiple. We can see that we've done all the pre-due diligence already on there, with the view that we know it works, it's a great brand, it can grow, etc. So we do a lot of that work. Then we then match that with people in the space looking to buy e-commerce businesses. So we do handhold them the whole way. Equally, we have people who come to us. Some e-commerce brands or other businesses come to us and say, listen, how can we develop and grow this business? And we just take that 4-tweak model and just overlay that business and say, listen, these are the 4 key areas. Let's now focus. What we need to do is departmentalize your business, because most businesses are actually quite going back to my analogy of oil tanker and speedboat when I was at Royal Bank Scotland. we wanted to turn these businesses into little speedboat departments. So marketing, customer service, supply chain, make them into subdivide divisions within your organization, but with the autonomy to go and hit their goals at the end. I think that's the secret, the autonomy. When I learned my trade at Royal Bank of Scotland, yes, we were a huge organization, however, I had the autonomy to go and acquire the businesses the way I wanted to acquire them. I just had a target in place. So as long as I met that target and did it in the right way, the board, which I was a part of, weren't bothered how we got there. And that's what allowed us to, when I joined the Royal Bank of Scotland, we were number 18 in Europe. So we weren't even on the radar. We were what we call a parochial Scottish bank that basically no one had heard of. By the time I left, we were number 4 in Europe, number 3 in Europe, and number 2 in the UK. It was just incredible. And that's down to the senior team and led by Fred Goodwin, if I'm being fair. Just the ability to be an oil tanker, but with divisions that are speedboats. And that's what we try and say to business owners, that most businesses are solo. You got to create those teams, your senior team, make it into different divisions, let those divisions hit their target. And that's what I call you have a business. That's a business you can then go and sell for 3, 4, 5, 6 times the multiple. Because most of the business we look at, if I take the owner out, I have no business.
So I think in my experience, I believe we're heading to a world where visual expression dominates everything. My kids, they don't know how to read a product description, right? Like you and I, we grew up looking at magazines, reading product descriptions and seeing a single photo. My kids want to see a video of everything that they
Yeah.
want, right? So when you look at products that are e-commerce, do you look at things and go that it really lend themselves well to video and and video representation? Like when you told me about your toothbrush, and I'm going to go back to the toothbrush story because when you told me about it, I literally in my mind, I'm a very visual person, right? Like a very visual thinker. As a matter of fact, a lot of times when my wife asks me if like, "Hey, where's my car keys?" She'll see me close my eyes. I can walk through the room and go, "Oh, they're on this." I can still see this
Yeah.
space. I'm extremely visual, but when you said the toothbrush, I seen a vision of like somebody with a super micro close up, thumbing through those, 20,000, bristles so that you can, and maybe
Yeah.
water
You,
spraying off,
you got it.
right?
That's exactly on our website. So you got a
I
thumb
bet
flicking.
I was like, that has to be the way he's displaying that because that tells the story. Do you look for that inside of products? Because, like, we're a TikTok nation, right? We want shorts, right? Even for this show now, up until last year, I didn't do shorts. I was like, I've got content. Why would I need to do that?" And everybody kept bugging me, and now we're going our show is growing like mad because we produce shorts on everything,
Yeah.
right? We'll cut this thing into, multiple short clips and put those out there. I have a person, her whole job, that's all she does. She finds the shorts and does the marketing of the short bits. That said, do you look for products that like, okay, this is gonna just demonstrate
Yeah.
itself really well in the TikTok nation. I can make a 30-second, 1 minute or 2-minute clip of this and people would just get what it is and want it.
100%. So although people think it's a new thing, let's go back to our day.
Mhm.
Now, what do you say? A picture paints 1,000 words. So
Right.
that's probably more true these days than even our day. So yes, when we look at a product, yes, it's still a traditional thing, but there's again, if I use e-commerce as a really pure example, to me, e-commerce is a science. The page that you land on has to look a certain way, do a certain thing. It has to have certain content. It has to have certain. We've turned it into science. We have what we call it conversion rate optimization. So everything we as an M&A company and even our e-commerce company, everything we look at is about conversion rate optimization. So when we look to acquire a brand, again, we look for opportunities. So our team looks at it and goes, okay, this brand's doing okay. But we know if we put all these little parameters, change them, we know we can increase the conversion rate a little bit. And even things, is it a product that we can video it? Are they using social media properly? Is it video properly? Is it telling the story properly? Because you're absolutely right. And that's not just a story of selling. It's also things like testimonial, which is super important. No, do you have enough people recording video content or photographic content, showing them using it? What is a real life user experience at the end of it? Because again, we now live in a world, as you said, talk about your kids, same as mine. It's short content. Tell me what I need to know now because I've literally no patience. I need to know now. I need to know what it is, what it does, and if I like it. And I need to know in 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds, I need to know all this information. And that's the consumer world we live in. If you can grasp that consumer world, then just that will then lead to conversion and increase sales. The more you can understand not only biopsychology, but how they want information fed to them, then you can start to make that work. And then the other key thing that people that miss out on, but is very key in e-commerce, is a lot of it you need now working with affiliate marketing. Because what I mean by affiliate marketing is that people will not necessarily buy from you as a brand, but they buy from someone they trust who says they trust your brand. And that's a key element that's missing in a lot of businesses, not just e-commerce, but generally people don't understand the importance of referral marketing or affiliate marketing from the outside. And part of our M&A model is that we try and turn an acquisition that is predominantly paid into showing how we can turn it from a reliability on paid into worst case scenario 50-50, that you got 50% organic referral traffic coming in, which makes not just a huge difference in terms of your marketing spend, but also your bottom line, as you can probably guess.
You ever do things like, not necessarily full-blown surveys, but the very simple, questions to your customer base for e-commerce saying, "Hey, we're always on the lookout for new products and stuff. What are we not carrying right now that you'd love to have?"
Yeah.
Right?
In e-commerce, there's an even better way of doing that one. Which, again, little secret for everyone is in e-commerce, but they probably don't use it. The top right hand corner uses like a search bar in there.
Mhm.
Search bar is there for absolutely not their end. It's customer research. What are they typing in there? What are they looking for that we don't have? And so we review that on a month by month basis and keep track of, okay, that's come up too many times. And to give you a real example, what came up on the toothbrush brand was firstly a kid's toothbrush. We didn't used to sell kids' toothbrush and then a nano version. So we created one which was more kids orientated with like bunny rabbits. We had a pink and a blue one, and an orange one, etc., etc. So that came up one. Recently, what came up, which we now launched, is a tongue scraper, believe it or not. So people wanted a tongue scraper. So we started selling tongue scraper. Well, what we have done, and it's a pure exclusive for you here because we're about to launch it next year. We incorporated the tongue scraper in our new Brevy toothbrush. So we made it obviously reverse it much more like a proper tongue scraper, so you don't have to order when it comes part of your toothbrush. So again, we do surveys to find out more information and but that's much more for engagement with our customer base. So we make sure they're engaged. But your search bar at the top I don't think you realize what an important bit of real estate that is on your website. That has to be done properly to allow people to understand. Because they can search for something, then use that to see what, as long as you don't have enough traffic, you can start to see, well, what are people asking for? Because they're clearly trying to find it and we clearly don't have it. So what keeps coming up again and again?
It's a great thing to look at, and especially if it's, the shops, like I take it Shopify shares that with you, so if
Yes.
somebody's on your Shopify store, you can see what they're searching for?
Yeah. So it comes up like your search data. So it's all there. And that again, the beauty of owning your own real estate and Shopify means every bit of information belongs to you.
That's really cool. The, we've done that before on some of the sites that we had back in the day, and, it was very manual back then. Looks like now you could actually have, kinda AI track it. You could actually tie something into that where,
Yeah.
the other thing you could probably figure out is, prod I bet there's third-party data aggregators out there that if you gave it a list of products you have, right, it would tell you other things that your customers would probably buy,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah, you could probably say, "Hey, I've got customers and, that buy our toothbrush, our tongue scraper, and then they buy our vitamins from us," right? And do you actually ever correlate the brands that you own underneath your hat and go, "Do I have customers that overlap in these products?"
Yeah, we do actually, but funnily enough, so lots of brands that we own, we can be able to cross-fertilize the data as much as anything
Yeah.
is bit Facebook, which is also a good part of a sort of rolling strategy. So if you look into, so obviously we own a number of brands. So part of the acquisition strategy there is to make sure we have brands that can sort of, we can cross-fertilize sales with, openly and officially. Now, probably a good example of that one is that we own a dog leash brand. We own a dating guide. But one of the products of the dating guide is for couples with dogs. So we took the dates from one to the other and cross-sold. So we did the dating guide, do you want to buy a leash for your dogs? And we took the dog leash and said, listen, here's a couple's guide to If you love your dog, what you can do as a couple with your dog, in terms of engaging your relationship. So yeah, so part of a wide acquisition strategies look for certain brands that you might put in your portfolio, whether it's e-commerce or not, that you can use the data. Because obviously data is king. You can use that data to cross-sell, upsell, do different work with, and do partnerships with as well at the end of the day.
It's interesting when you said that. I went the different direction when you said that you had a dog leash business, and I think earlier you said something about dog houses. I was like, if I you mentioned earlier in the conversation you had vitamin businesses. I was like, we used to buy vitamins when our dog got old. We bought vitamins for our
Oh
dog.
yeah.
They were little like they were fruit chew type of things, but they had things that as a dog gets older they need more of, and he loved them. Like he would eat those things that he would basically start coming begging for his treat, and it was just a vitamin. We give the kids vitamins, and the kids would give the dog his vitamin. So it's interesting that you can cross those different platforms, and it doesn't even have to dilute your brand any. You could
Yeah.
actually you already have the manufacturer, and a lot of people don't know this in vitamin. You normally just have the formula, and you have somebody else that mixing it and
Yeah.
bottling it and putting a label on it. So now you just formulate something. You already have the contracts and the contacts you need. Formulate a formula that's safe for dogs, it benefits them a certain way, and then slap a new label on it and go, "Hey, by the way, we found this cool thing for your dog, and we've grouped it." Right? A lot of people like the specialty things. Like if your dog's more than 2 years old, it probably needs some of this. If it's a puppy, it needs this, and if it's an older dog, our dog lived to be
That's-
19. Right? There's certain things he needed as he got really old. So
But again, taking that point, I know, I think you were talking about doing AI to give you different products. Your best source is also going back to the manufacturer that you work with, because they're really on the pulse. So you just say to them, what are you bringing out next in this space? Because I want to make sure I'm the first one. I want to be on the first ride of this one. And again, we have a very, very close relationship with the supply chain, along the way. Again, in all businesses, the more connected you are to the supply chain, they usually are your first beacon to tell you what's coming up next, because they they spend those millions of dollars trying to find out what do they need to supply to the entire world to make sure they make money. And you might not be that close to it, but they'll certainly work with you, because at the end of the day, they want to sell you stuff at the end of the day. And we've done that with all us. So we build up very, very, very close supply chain relationships for two reasons. One, for that, but secondly, as I mentioned, the 4 tweak model, our first way of making more money is to make the item less at the end of the day. And we negotiate really, really hard. We've talked a lot about the toothbrush, but again, the toothbrush company is a great one. When we bought that brand, this cost for manufacture and to ship to the USA was $5.60. We now have the same supplier, and then they with a better product, now wholly branded. So our own packaging, our own leaflets, our own box, everything that are perfectly 100% branded, because it's basically a drop shipping brand. It wasn't even branded. It came in a plastic bag in a horrible bag shipped to the USA, and it's still sold. So but now we pay $3.80. So we've smashed our 10% multiple, but it's a better product, a more branded product, and it's still cheap to go there. And that's how we can increase the profitability. But you do that by building relationships with people. So we built a really, really strong relationship, and going back to storytelling, took the supplier on a storytelling journey. Like, this is what we're going to do. This is our plan. You're selling, right now we bought it. You're selling, hundreds of toothbrushes. We're going to be working together. We're going to sell thousands of toothbrushes every month at the end of the day. So work with us to achieve that, and you've got complete supply chain. And usually they'll work with you. You might not get it on day one, but they will start to help you. Now we have such a great relationship. They tell us what the next nice thing is that's coming along. Do you want to should be doing this next? We've seen this come out in the market. We're going to be manufacturing this in the next 12 months. Would you be interested? To such an extent, we now worked with that one manufacturer. Like I said, we've created the world's first electric nano toothbrush. So taking our traditional toothbrush, we'll put it into an electric version. And that is literally our own product. But we did that by
yeah.
working very closely with the manufacturer and say it needs to look this way, be this certain way. Because we've got that great relationship and they've seen us work really hard, they're willing to invest their time and effort to create something that they know they can sell to us, that we will market with them.
Now, before we wrap this up, I've got one more area I'm curious about. You talk about Spotify or Spotify. You talk about Shopify a little bit. you're talking about my podcast world, I get Spotify and Shopify mixed up a little bit. The Shopify, what about things like, is the TikTok shop doing anything now? Have you messed with that at all? I see a lot of people promoting, affiliate ads type of stuff on there.
It does work. It works probably a bit more rather than TikTok's one of those really interesting new niches that's come across. So for me, and when we've done a bit of research, it tends to work more. I think again, you hit the nail on the head. For a brand to use it, it doesn't add any brand value because it's a platform that is been designed specifically for peer to peer. So
Mhm.
when brands go on there, unless the brand is something cool, trendy, hip, hits that marketplace, you get zero engagement. So we although we have it always all social media present, it's probably more there as a but in the brands we have, it's more information tool. So we might use to show an advert of the toothbrush or show how it can work, etc. The real sales come from our affiliate marketers. But when it's peer to peer, when it's Jane there cleaning a toothbrush, like, look how amazing this is. I love this toothbrush. Here's why I love it. Hey, do you want to order one? Go to my TikTok shop or go to this place, use this code or just mention my name and you get a discount. That's where those peer-to-peer social media platforms work, like TikTok and Instagram's fairly similar as well. It's more of a self-verification. Yes, you need to have a presence there to so people know you're real and you exist and you're a brand. But most TikTok shops tend to work when people have their own individual TikTok shops, or they're an influencer, or they're an affiliate marketer, etc. If that's where it tends to work a lot better, because people want to buy the content from people that they trust, they believe in, they have a relationship with, and they've got a peer to peer relationship with them.
Do you ever try to ride any of the viral trends? Like, I guess recently one of the viral going back to your damn toothbrush, back to the viral trends. There was that purple toothpaste out there where it makes your teeth super white super fast. Like, I'd almost reach out and partner, like, send everybody that's doing all the influencers that send it, doing a purple toothpaste commercial, go, "Hey, have you tried one of our nano toothbrushes? Here's a
Yeah,
free one."
that's literally how you pick up on the browser, because usually the virality is so quick. To get to market, you probably could do it, but it's quite hard. You're right. The best way to do is partner up with them and say, listen, you've done something in this space. We have something in the same space. You probably made money from that doing that one. Why don't you just tag this one in part?
Yep.
Because you've obviously got the audience, you have the engagement. If you sold a lot of the purple toothpaste, the chances are you attracted people who are into their teeth or look after their teeth. Here's just something else. Here's another widget, as I call it, for you to go and promote and sell. You sell it, you make money, we make money. The beauty is that obviously it doesn't cost us anything. That's I said before, you move from a paid strategy to a non-paid strategy, although you might not do it 100%, by eating away at your paid strategy allows you to make more bottom line profit by making much more organic traffic. And that could be influencers, it could be affiliate marketing, it could be SEO, all the normal traditional stuff. You build that into any organization, or whether it's an e-commerce brand or whether it's a bricks and mortar. You really got to make sure you have a very, very 360-degree marketing strategy that allows you to basically increase your profitability, more profit, more EBITDA, more at the end of the day.
Yeah, I would look at doing, like, collaborations with the actual purple toothpaste like, "Hey, if you'll send this out to your email list, showing our nano toothbrush, we'll send, we'll mention and show an example of your purple toothpaste to our email list." And you could do that with all kinds of products, right? Somebody has a dog leash or you have the dog leash and somebody has a really good harness, right? And you maybe one of these days you wanna buy their harness or you wanna have one in your product line. But you go, "Look, anybody that has that harness is probably gonna want a decent leash to walk them with it." If you'll email your list, with my product in it, I'll email my list with your product in it, and then your cells are your cells and my cells are my cells, and then you don't have any affiliate commissions or anything. You can do that too. But, there's so many different ways to collaborate in this space. You're making me think, maybe I overstepped something here. I should take a look at it. Uh, I'm just I'm just at one of those stages in life where I don't necessarily want stuff shipped to me or even the returns, right? How do you handle the logistics of that? Like, when somebody sends something back because it wasn't exactly what they wanted, or does that
We
come back
work
to you?
Yeah, so we work really hard on things like customer returns. And again, we see this what we call an opportunity within any brand, because
Hmm.
usually the brand we work with and we acquire and we do the clients, they're quite young, so they're not, and usually they're not fully staffed. They're talking about the departments. So when we do our analysis and stuff, we always make sure, obviously part of the handover the client buys it, we have a customer service division that's in there. And their sole role is to track the order, make sure the order, and keep communication with the customer to make sure they're happy. And we invariably reduce that return rate. So every single brand that we own and every single brand that we've managed and acquired, we've had a less than 1% return rate, which we're super proud of that strategy in there. And if there is a return, we say don't return it, not interested, because it wastes time. We just give you a refund. So it's that no guarantee refund and just deliver. So we avoid this whole shipping back and say, listen, keep it, throw it in the bin, whatever you want to do with it. We'll just literally give you your money back. And then they will just return the money. And that that obviously builds more and more trust. You'd be surprised how many of those people will still come back as a customer at some point in time, even though they don't like what you did the first time around, because it's still on your database at the end of the day. So that's how we try to handle it. So yeah, returns are a very key element. But again, not to reveal any top secrets, when we look to acquire brands, there's certain sectors that we don't really look at. And we would never advise clients to buy in those sectors. And that predominantly is clothing is one area, and jewelry is the other one. Is the two areas that we 99% stay away from, because the number of variables within your portfolio. Therefore, you got a medium to me might be smaller than someone else, etc. You got too many variables, and it's too on trend. It could be from a fashion jewelry point of view, it could be really on trend now, but it could be dead in 6 months, it could be dead in 9 months, it could be dead in 12 months. So again, use this phrase quite a few times. They're not just two. It's a widget. It's something that is a consumable that you're going to be able to sell within your portfolio. It might only be single product or multi-product. There's things in there that sell again and again and again and again. And probably a similar example. So although we might sell a pocket printer in different colors, you might not buy that every day, but you're going to buy the paper. So therefore, in the branding, we know we can keep selling the paper every single month. People keep using it, use it. There's this consumable element, the printer, that allows us to communicate to our customers on an ongoing basis. And that brand was really clever. It was white. We now use different colors. It's a seasonal product for birthdays, Black Friday, Xmas, etc. So again, we focus on seasonality, but we make sure there's consumables in there. People can order again and again and again and again all the time.
Awesome. I like that. Well, it looks like we're running out of time. I hate to do this, but we're going to have to wrap this one up. Thank you for being here today. First of all, how do people reach out to you? What's the best way for people to connect with you if they want to buy an e-commerce site and they want your help?
So best way to jump onto Bowarr's website, which is bowarr.com. That's BOWARR.com. You can leave some information there. I'm on LinkedIn. So if you look for Issac Qureshi, which is spelled the right way. So I'll do it very quickly. ISSAC QURESHI. I'm probably sure I'm the only one on there. So again, reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's probably a really good thing to get there on the website. And obviously, I'm sure they can contact you as well, and you'll pass any information on from the audience. But yeah, anyone looking to do any acquisitions, e-commerce, then please, more than happy to help and give you some more feedback. It'd be a pleasure. And thank you very much for your time as well and having me on the show. I really do appreciate it.
Well, awesome. Well, hang out for a few seconds and we'll call that a show. I want to announce our new channel partners, the ITX Marketplace. Since 1998, ITX has created $5 billion in value by selling more than 225 IT businesses in 20 countries. ITX works exclusively with IT-enabled businesses generating between $5 million and $30 million who are ready to be sold, and M&A decision makers who are ready to buy. For over 25 years, ITX has developed industry knowledge that helps determine whether a seller is a good fit for their buyers before making the match. ITX Mergers and Acquisition Marketplace we have partnered with has a proprietary database of 50,000 plus global buyers seeking IT service firms, managed service providers, Microsoft service providers, software as a service platforms, and channel partners with Microsoft, Oracle, ServiceNow, and the Salesforce space. If you have an IT-enabled business you're ready to sell, I want you to visit the itexchangenet.com/marketplace. How to exit. That link will be in the show notes. Visit them now.